I don't know if Corey even remembers this or not, but we were talking one day, and this actually was kind of his idea. So if it goes real bad, we're going to blame Corey. Because we were talking about revivals, and I told him, I said, the last several revivals I had, everything just went wrong. And he said, well, have you ever thought about doing different speakers each night? Maybe that's something different to do. And I said, yeah, would you do it? So I booked him first. Amen. Anyway, Corey, I'm glad you're here tonight. Corey's my friend. Somebody has to feel sorry for him. Anyway, no, I love him to death, and I'm thankful for him, and it's amazing to see what God's done in his life over the last few years. And I told him a long time ago, Corey, you can do this work, you can do it, God can use you, and I've seen him do some amazing things in the ministry already, and I look forward to what God's going to do with him in the future, amen? So not to put pressure on you or nothing. But don't lay an egg tonight, all right? Anyway, now you come and you preach what God has for you, and it'll be good. Amen? Let's make it work.
You're talking about my nice cup. This isn't Yeti because somebody gave it to me. If I would have bought it, it would be like a Goda or something. $2.99 or less from Ross or something. But no, I really do. I know what you're supposed to say anytime you go somewhere to preach. But I really do love preaching here because you've been a church who's extremely invested in not only me personally, but our church plan. And most of what we've been able to do has been because of you, and because of your church, because you've given, because of, even more so before the church plant was ever in existence, this church and this pastor was a part of that, maybe more than they know. And I wanted to, tonight isn't about, I'm not trying to come here and glorify a man or anything like that. I know Paul wouldn't want me to say this, but I think just something that y'all should know is the message I'm preaching tonight that's on my heart really, really heavy is something I shared in our own church not all too long ago because I was in a place in my life where I really needed God to do something and encourage me in my life. And our church needed it too. I think I realized that after I preach, sometimes I feel like we preach things that are just for you when you're preaching it, and you didn't realize that somebody else needed it as well. But it was through Pastor Paul that I was able to come through a lot of things in my life and in my ministry. And I want to share a little bit of that with you all tonight. Paul has laughed with me, he's cried with me, he shared wisdom with me, walked with me, pushed me, motivated me. But he taught me something a long time ago, and I'm a real simple kind of thinker. If you can imagine that. And he told me something a long time ago that you can finish this sentence that I'll never forget, that I always remember and I always use it. If you ain't dead, he's told y'all that before. I thought I was special. No, he tells me that all the time. And he taught me to keep fighting even when you don't have any fight left in you. And I think that's the most important thing that I've ever learned from you. And sorry, I just want to say thank you for that. I want to preach to you from Ecclesiastes chapter 3. It's a real simple message. And it's going to be a few places that you're familiar with, that you've read before time and time again, because there's nothing new under the sun. And I know that there's nothing I'm going to preach to you that this man probably hadn't already taught you. But I just like to teach the Bible from my own life and what I've experienced for myself, because that's the only way that I know how to do it. And that's the example that Jesus left more for me when he went to whoever he went to. That's how he spoke. And he used their life and his his own experiences, and the Apostle Paul and men that I look at, they use their own life to tell a story, because it's much more effective for me to tell my own life story than to tell somebody else's. And so tonight I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about how God brought me through a difficult time. He used His Word to do that. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3, starting in verse 1, y'all have heard this many times before. It says, "To everything there is a season, a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together." Lord God, I pray you would be with us tonight. Lord, you would bring a word. God, if I come here to give a motivational speech or just to speak some colorful words, God, we wasted our time coming here. So God, I pray you would help me to put myself aside, that you would use me tonight in a way that only you can do, that you would use your word to speak to us in whatever way that we need tonight, whether it's conviction or encouragement or wherever it is that we find ourselves. Lord, I pray that you would do a move in us. Lord, I pray that you would, as you begin this revival tonight, God, that you would revive Shenandoah Heights, Lord. You would give them a renewed excitement, Lord. You would renew Pastor Paul and their leadership, God. I pray you would give them just a passion that they, Lord, for wherever it is that you would have them to be, where you have them serving at. The next goal that you have for their church, Lord, that they would continue to be on fire for you and invest in other people, God, like they have in us, God. And I'm so grateful for them, and I pray in Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Ecclesiastes is one of my favorite books of the Bible, probably my favorite book of the Bible. It's a poetical book. It's from like the Proverbs and Psalms, and it has all these neat little sayings in it that give you wisdom for life. And I love this. One of my favorites in particular is Ecclesiastes 9, 10, and 11 says, "Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave where thou goest. I return to sovereign of the sun, the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill, but time and chance happens to them all." And I remember when I was a teenager and I first read that verse, I was like, God can use even me. I'm serious. I read that verse and I said that, man, if it's not just to the smart, and it's not just to the talented, and it's not just to the people with money, then God could use me too. And this verse encouraged me through a lot of different times in my life. And I love this statement. I don't believe in luck, but I believe in Ecclesiastes 9:11. It says, "Time and chance happens to them all." You have opportunity in your life. And it might happen once, it might happen twice. You never know what's going to happen. You always have to be prepared for when the time and your chance comes, because it might never come again. I remember when I was playing football in high school, and we're football in Virginia. I don't know, it's high school football in Virginia, and it's serious. It's very serious. And I just remember being in high school. We would work hard. We would practice, work our tail off. As soon as you get out of school, right to practice. You get home at 7 o'clock, practice all week, and it took a lot. Somebody that went out just to play, just to goof off, I never understood it. It's too much work just to wear a uniform to school on Friday. And so for me, it was about football. And I just remember, man, we would get fired up. You're getting focused. You're getting into the zone, especially on Friday night. And when it was game time, there was no more messing around. When we would travel to another school, on our bus, it was like you weren't allowed to talk. It was silence. Coach wanted you focused on what the objective was. If we were goofing around, we were running hills on Monday. And if we lost on the way home and you laughed, you were running hills on Monday. Football was serious business. And so I remember, I was a defensive lineman, and when the offense was on the field, I was just standing on the sideline, chomping at the bit. I couldn't wait to get back in and hit somebody so hard it gives them a peach impediment. And I was standing on the sideline, I was just waiting. I couldn't wait to get back in. I was waiting. I wanted to hurry up and score because I wanted to go back in because I love football. And I remember even my senior year, I remember waiting even more because I knew it's just a little bit longer. I don't have much more time. My time and chance is coming to an end. I want to take in all that I can. You know, it's something I never understood. I never understood that sometimes there'd be these guys or whatever, somebody would get banged up on the field. A running back would get hurt, or a receiver would get hurt, or a lineman would get hurt, or whatever, or they're gassed and they're out of breath, and the coach turns around and calls them to back up, get in the game, and they're over there wandering off somewhere. They're not up there, they're not waiting, they weren't ready for it, they weren't prepared for it, their time and chance had come, and they're over there goofing off somewhere. That used to really tick me off, to be honest with you. Because here we're in a game, and I'm looking over, and we need this guy to get in the game. The clock is running, and the guy's over. He's just waving to mommy and daddy. He's so proud. He's in his uniform, and this guy's, checking the cheerleaders out, and the other guy's over there, licking his buddy's helmet, and so you got all this stuff going on. And they had this time, they had this chance, they had this opportunity to go in the game that could have made a difference. You see that in the NFL. Look at Kirk Cousins. I'm a Redskins fan. I'm very loyal and stupid. And so, but you look at Kirk Cousins here. This superstar is coming out discouraged with what he must have been to go in and sit behind what was this going to be the greatest thing ever. But he became a Redskin, and he became the worst thing ever. But Kirk Cousins, though, he had opportunity, he had time and chance, and he went in a game. When they were down, when their superstar was down, when the air was sucked out of the building. I was at the game that Kirk Cousins started against, he came in the game versus Baltimore Ravens. And he went down the field, he marched back, we were down, he went back, we won the game, and Redskins fans became a Kirk Cousins fan. The 6th round draft pick that nobody had ever heard of. He took time and chance, he had an opportunity, he took the most of what he had in that time. And I think the Bible teaches us that. It teaches us that we need to make the most of this life and what we have and what God has given you and what ability He has given you and what He has called you to do, that He's called you to do that nobody else can do it the way that He designed you to do it. He has something for you in your life that He has a purpose and a will for you in a way that you are the only one that can do what God has called you to do. Now, if you'll do it, don't do it. He'll get somebody else to do it, but it wouldn't have been the same if you would have done it. I mean, so every day when you wake up, you think about, I have a purpose. God has created me, designed me. He let me wake up today. I'm still breathing today because He's got something for me to do. And if you're not, folks, we should be on the sideline waiting for any opportunity that we have that we might get in the game. Ecclesiastes is saying you have one shot, you have one opportunity, you have one chance, one life. You may not get multiple chances, you have one. And when you find it, whatever it is that God has called you to do, whatever your hand finds to do, you better do it with all your might. Because there will come a time, there will come a day when God calls you in the game, and all the practice and all the labor and all the preparation was for a purpose, and it was in this moment. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Do you look for opportunities for God to do a work in your life? Do you look for openings in your life for God to do a work? I mean, we come to church, and this is something I try to tell our church every week. I don't want to go to church this way. I don't want to get up. If the Holy Spirit's not going to move, we're just wasting our time. I don't care about giving a motivational speech. I want God to do something supernatural in our church, in me, and in our people. When we come here to revival, to come expecting something to happen, not just to come to another revival in another year to sit in a pew to do the same thing over again. It's a waste of time. I want God to do something in our life. I want God to do something in His church this week. I believe that He can. I believe that. I don't believe that this is just a time to show up and play patty cake. Ecclesiastes says there is a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones. You know, there's a time that you need to go, you need to look, and you need to tear down because you need to rebuild. There's a time where there's things that are just there that ought not to be, and you need to get rid of it. And then there's times where you come in and He says you need to cast stones. You need to not only cast stones, but you need to gather stones for the rebuilding or of something new or for a battle. The Bible is full of stories about rocks and stones, but the most well-known story about stones that we all have heard 1,000 times, such a simple message, but 1 Samuel chapter 17, David and Goliath. It just never gets old to me. I mean, I know it's simple. I know it's something that we've all heard. You learn it from your little tiny kids in Sunday school. You don't even have to go to church and you've heard of David and Goliath. So there's every angle that's been taught, but I read it over and over again because it gives me hope, because I know how many times in my life I felt like the underdog. That I didn't think I could do it. That I didn't think that God could use me to do it, but He demanded that I do it. That it wasn't about my talent or my ability or what I could do, that God was going to do it in spite of myself. And so I love the stories of the underdog. In Samuel chapter 17, I'm just going to read a few verses to you from there. It says, and as he, in verse, I'm sorry, I'm trying to see where I want to start at. Start at verse 23. It says, and as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of God, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words, and David heard them. And all the men of Israel went. When they saw the man, they fled from him and were sore afraid. And the men of Israel did say, have you seen this man that has come up? Surely to defy Israel he has come up. And it shall be, but when the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? And the people answered him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done to the man that killeth him. And Eliab, his eldest brother, when he had spake unto men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against him, against David, and he said, why camest thou down hither, and with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride, and the naughtiness of thine heart, for thou hast come down, that thou mightest see the battle. David saw an opportunity. David was standing on the sideline waiting for an opportunity for God to call him in the game. And he was jumping up and down, and he was there for the very same reason that he said he was there. He said, you've come here that you might see battle. Yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I shut up. That's why I follow the Lord. That's why I do what I do. I'm here to get in the game. I don't want to sit on the sideline and take care of some sheep. If I could go into battle with Philistine, that you're too wussy to do, I'll be the one. And David, he didn't care what anybody else thought in that moment, in that time. He looks at him like, you're a bunch of cowards. This giant of Israel, 9.5 foot tall, whatever, they're going back and forth and they're arguing who has to go and fight. And David's standing back and he's watching this go on among these warriors. Great men of God, great warriors. They were seasoned, they'd been in war after war, and they're going back and forth among one another. Who's going to be the one to go and fight this giant that is impossible, because surely they're going to die? And little David, little 14, 15, 16, however old he was, little David, just this little youth, this little shepherd boy. I'm not afraid. And David was angered. And I love this statement. One of my favorite statements of this story is in the very next verse. And he turned from him toward another and spake after the same manner, and people answered him again after the former manner. No, verse 29. He said, and David said, what have I now done? Is there not a cause? I love that. David didn't care how tall he was or how great of a warrior he was. He didn't care why he was there. He just knew that he was in the way of where they needed to be. And so as Israel, they're fighting over each other and fighting who's going to go into the battle. He says, is there not a cause? Is there not a reason that we should? Isn't there something worth fighting for? Isn't God worth dying for? Isn't God worth facing this giant for? Isn't He worthy? I think He's worthy. I think He's worthy to go in the fight. I think there is still a cause. I think we're in a place in America where there's a struggle and you feel like you're never really going to get through this. The church is never really going to get back on top again. So we should just kind of lay down and give up because the world's so wicked and just so gone that we should just give up because we're never going to reach Him and we're never going to make a difference. Is there not a cause? Is there not still people that are looking for Jesus? 3 people got saved this morning. There's some people still looking to get saved. There's still a cause. But we get defeated and we get discouraged and we don't think it's really making a difference anymore. We haven't felt the real power of God. And so long that it's just stale and it's stagnant and we forgot what we're fighting for. If you're not passionate about what you're fighting for, then you're wasting your time. If you don't care about winning, you don't care about what you're fighting for, you're passionless. You will have fear and doubts, and you will struggle through it because you don't care enough about it that you'll face the giant, whatever it is in your life. He was so angry. Is there not a cause? Remember William Wallace and Braveheart? What a manly movie. He said, they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom. And he was saying, I would rather die fighting than to live defeated. Are you living life defeated? Do you really think that God can do something in this church, in your life, in your community that you've never seen before? Do you still believe that? God can do something that you've never seen, you've never experienced, you've never been a part of. We should always be having new stories to tell about what God did in spite of us. Because you can tell the difference. You can tell when God does something and when we perform something. There's a big difference. You can tell the difference. You can sense the difference. People know. When you're in a church service and there's moving songs or moving music and stuff, and that's fine or whatever, but you can tell the difference between emotions and when God is moving. There's a big difference. Because when God's moving, whoever's up there, whoever's speaking, whatever, they feel like, I got to stay put aside because this is so good, I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to get in the middle of what God's doing. I'm going to stand back here and let God keep doing what God's doing because He's doing way better than I had planned on doing. God can still do things that are amazing, that are unthinkable, that are unfathomable. And there comes a time when you have to cast stones at the giants that stand before you. Is there not a cause? There is a cause. Gather stones. The giants are coming. Do you ever find yourself submitting to fear? I have. Just because you're in this impossible situation, this battle before that you just can't overcome, there is a cause. Gather stones. The giants are coming in your life. Might be tomorrow or next week or a year from now, but you better be ready to cast some stones because giants are coming into your life. I remember when God had laid it on my heart to go to Bible college, there was just no possible way. There is no possible way, God, that I could go and do this. I felt unworthy to be called into ministry in the first place, and then God was calling me to go to school, and I knew that it's what I was supposed to do, but I was too afraid of it. Because I wasn't good at school. I wasn't very good academically. I didn't pay attention. I didn't apply myself. And everything that I needed to learn to prepare myself, it was too late. I was already graduated high school. And I couldn't stand it. When God lays something on you that you got to do, that you have to do, He won't leave you alone till you're a miserable person. I don't want to be miserable. I wanted what God wanted for me. I was just scared of it because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't grow up in a Christian home. I didn't really even know any preachers. All I knew was from the church that I went to. I've been saved for about 4 years at the time, and I didn't know anything. And I was going into something, I was scared, and I was intimidated because I didn't grow up that way, and I didn't know how to act or talk or what to look like or how to be in front of these people that grew up in it. was like, this is going to get interesting. But I went, and I remember the day I got pulled in there, I was scared to death. And then I found out there's all these rules that I didn't even know about. All this stuff. I remember I had to go get a suit. Forgot to tell me that part. You had to be out of bed at 7 o'clock with your bed made right, too, like with the corners tucked and stuff. I never did that before. I was just doing good to get over the top of it there a little bit. So you had to be out of bed, feet on the floor at 7 o'clock in class, ready, dressed in your suit, ready to go. And I just made it even worse. I don't know how to act like this. These people are walking around like their pastors are like professors at the school and stuff. So I'm kind of like going around looking for the guy that's like me, and there's none of them. They're all there because their dad and their grandfather and their grandfather before that, and there's all these preachers, and I'm sitting there going, I don't belong here. I felt way out of place. I was scared to death. And there was about 25 of us, I think my freshman year, that went to Bible college. And I remember every day I showed up not knowing anything, and I was excited. I was just afraid. It was sort of like a car accident. You wanted to see what was going to happen. You wanted to watch it, but it could be bad. And I remember every day I would go into class, and they're giving stories and examples, and they're teaching us things. And every now and then they would be like, yeah, and they're talking about the story like I know the background of it. And I'm like totally lost. And I was just like nodding and stuff, and yeah, like I knew what he was talking about. I had no idea what he was talking about. And then every day I would go in there, and I was learning something new all the time. I was going every day. I was learning something. But we had pastors who would come in as professors. They would come in 1 week. We would have a class, and 1 week we would have a midterm on Wednesday, a final on Friday, and a new class the next week. I love this. ADD people school right there. New class every week. But it was pastors, and these pastors would come in, and that was the best part of the college that I went to, was that it was one of the only schools at the time that taught every book of the Bible, but it was also one of the very few schools that the professors who taught it were pastors. And they gave their time for free to come for a week to invest in young preachers. And so you know that they're not there for a paycheck. You know that they're passionate about what they do, because they could be doing anything else, but they came for free to Bible college all week long to teach young, eager people for ministry. And I remember they would sit there and they would tell these stories and all, and I would hear, and I didn't tell anybody, so I would hear those stories, and I was scared, and I kept thinking about, I got to find a way out, because there's no way that I can handle, I know how to do, or I can handle these situations, and I was struggling. I knew I was called, but how can I be called to something so impossible? And I remember the day. I remember where I was sitting. I remember the professor that it was. I remember what he was wearing. I remember the day I cast my first stone. Pastor Joe Brothers, he was a tall, slender man. He was always dressed in that. I always had a little pocket thing hanging out of here. He was military. His shoes were, you could see, he shined them every day. You could not find a stitch out of line. He literally took portions of classes to teach us how to dress, because if you dress stupid, you're distracted. Match your clothes, cut your fingernail. He would teach us stuff like this. And seriously, he's like, you sitting up there with your zipper down, they ain't gonna hear a word you say. You're wasting your time. So he would talk about, that kids, it did matter in the aspect that you don't want to be a distraction to the people that you're speaking to. And so I remember he was easy to watch, because the dude was just like dressed so good. I remember watching him one day. He would always stop and tell his personal experience, whatever. And it would always, he just was so passionate. He was always just about just tears in his eyes. He was so passionate about what he was talking about. And I remember sitting there. I was about right here. I remember watching him and looking up at him. I remember him making a statement, and I could not wait to hear the answer. He said, I remember when I knew that God called me to be a pastor. I remember the moment that I knew. And I needed that answer. And I was sitting on the edge of my seat, and I couldn't wait to hear what the answer was to that question. I needed to know the answer to that question. He said, I remember a man asked me one time, how do you know that you're called to preach? Dr. Brothers' eyes filled up with tears. And he said, because there's nothing else that I can do. I have to preach. I'll die if I don't preach. There's nothing else that I can do. And as soon as he said that, my fear was gone. I wasn't worried anymore. I said, I got to do it. I'll die if I don't. I have to do it. I'll die if I don't. It's the only thing that I can do. There is a cause. Gather stones, and giants are coming. And that day I threw some stones at fear in my life, and insecurity in my life. And I don't ever remember a time after that ever doubting God's call in my life, ever. I've always, not always, but many times I've doubted myself and what I can do, what my abilities were. I've doubted that a lot in my life, but I've never doubted what God has called me to do. You should know that. You should know what you have to do. If you don't know what you have to do, that you'll die if you don't, then you haven't lived yet. There should be something that God has given you, something you should be so passionate about that that's what wakes you up every day. He's got something for you. He's got enemies coming at you. How many of you know that if you're doing something for God, the devil's doing something too? Oh my goodness. It has just been one absolute thing after another. From the very start. I wish I could tell some of the stories with what things that had happened. I mean, some of the key people that were out were my security going into the church plant. They left before it ever even started. Before it ever started. Talk about discouraging. The night that we had our first Bible study, my right-hand man, things didn't work out. I didn't know what was going on. I walked in the door. I see the guy help me get there, walk out the door. And I had to go in and give a Bible study. And they're wondering, what these people just left. What's going on? And I didn't know what to say or what to do. I'd never been there before. I couldn't believe this just happened. Very first day, I was like, God's saying, good start. God, I'm struggling by coming here anyway. You got people leaving. I ain't even preached yet. And I was scared. I was already scared. And then when that happened, I'm like, good, I'm really going to screw this thing up. God, are you sure? Are you sure? And so it makes you kind of reevaluate your life. And I remember God reminded me, you have a cause. You're here to gather stones. You went through Bible college, you went through ministry, youth ministry, and you went through all that. So all that time was gathering stones. You're ready. You don't know that you're ready, but you are ready because you've been gathering the stones for the battle that I have for you. You just didn't know what they were for. God has a giant that's coming into your life that if you're not gathering the stones for it, you won't be prepared for it. And if you do have it, there's nothing that can ever stop you. Not even a 9.5-foot giant. But you have to intentionally gather stones. Because giants are coming. There's a cause. Gather stones. The giants are coming. I remember coming to Pastor Paul time and time. You remember time and time again. I said, Paul, I can't do it. He said, yeah, you can. I said, no, I can't. Yeah, you can. We had that conversation for a couple of years. And he kept on pushing me, and I appreciate that. I needed somebody in my life at that time to push me because I did not believe. I believed in God, but I did not believe in myself. And maybe that's a good thing. but I needed somebody to push me. I needed somebody, and I've realized that through the last 2 years that I'm serious. If you weren't here for anybody else, you were here for me. There's probably not a week that goes by that I don't think about a stone that was placed in my life by the people that are around me. You need to gather stones. You need to put people in your life that prepare you for battle. That when you look around that you know that you're not alone, because you're not alone. You know what's really just ticks me off about what we're going through in our country right now is there's this, I don't know what it's called, or if there's a name for it, whatever. I call it gospel shaming. Like, you should be ashamed to believe what you believe. I mean, you can't honestly believe what the Bible says, that homosexuality is an abomination, that you can't choose what sex you want to be. I mean, you can't honestly think that people die and go to hell because they don't believe in Jesus. I mean, it is literally to the point where you're a little bit nuts if you believe that. I mean, honestly, seriously, I mean, it's like, it is foolish. They don't even want to engage in conversation with you anymore. I mean, that is so dumb that I don't even want to waste my breath with you. And so what it's made us feel, or some people's made us feel, is it's made you feel a little bit gun shy, a little bit embarrassed. Because they're going to think I'm one of those guys, those crazy, one of these people or whatever. And you look around and you think that there's nobody else there but you who thinks that. And they've shut our mouths. They've shut our mouths because we're ashamed. I mean, as a whole, I know that maybe that you're not, but as a whole, as a church, as a nation, we have shut our mouths. As Christians, we're scared because we should be ashamed of what we believe in. We talked this morning that there's a time, some people need to be brought about by compassion, and there's some that need to be yanked out from the fire. Amen. I think we're in that time. I don't think these people are ready to receive it compassionately. I think they need a little bit of yanking. I think we need to start throwing some stones at them and get some giants out of the way. I think that they need the truth, and that we're not giving it to them. But every day you walk into a job or you walk into a situation, you get test results that didn't come back the way that you thought they would. Things go wrong in your life. Situations go bad. There's a time to gather stones. There is a cause. There is a reason. There's a purpose for the trial, for the struggle, for the place that you were at in your life. There is a cause. Gather stones. The giants are coming. If times are good now, then you need to be getting ready because something's coming. And if nothing's coming, you ain't doing nothing. Matthew chapter 7 teaches us something else about stones that I'm sure you're familiar with. Matthew chapter 7. Starting about verse 24. He says, "Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him to a wise man which has built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And every one of you that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it." They're building stones, they're throwing stones, and they're building stones. And here's two men, a foolish man and a wise man. And the rain came, the waters rose, the wind blew, and the house fell, and great was the fall of it because it was built on the sand. It had no foundation. You didn't know what you were fighting for. There will come, God sometimes, I don't know if you've heard this before, I've been hearing it a lot recently. I tell myself this a lot sometimes. Rock bottom's a good foundation. Rock bottom's a good, I don't know who said that or whatever. Somebody smarter than me said it, but I thought that's pretty good. I could use that in my life. And I remember there was a few years ago, I know that Paul remembers, I came to him, well, he was the only person I really told this to. I was ashamed of it. But I remember being really, really, really discouraged in ministry. And I remember reading the Bible, I remember those days. I remember thinking back, I have to do this, I'll die if I don't do this. But I was to a place where I didn't know if I could do it anymore. And everything that I had did, all that I was ashamed because I was like, man, if I go and just get a regular job, what are people going to think? And I remember, and I was debating, I was at a place in my life where I was at such a bad place in my life that I was seriously thinking about just going and getting a regular job. I just can't do it anymore. So, Pastor Paul, do you ever feel like that? I won't tell you what he said. But I was really discouraged. So I went to the smartest man I knew. He's got the clothes all over his wall. It's like, this guy I know. He's educated. He's been in ministry for a long time. He's the smartest guy that I know. He'll know what to say. He'll know what to say. Good counselor, Bible scholar. I'm pouring my heart out. If you haven't figured out it was him. I'm pouring my heart out. I'm just laying it all out there. I'm so vulnerable, and I'm putting all this out there to Paul, and he's listening, and I'm just telling him everything that's going on in my life, and how I don't know that I can go on, and woe is me, and I'm so sad, and I hate where I'm at, and I got to get out of this place that I'm in my life, and God, what am I going to do? He's taking it all in, and I finish, and I look at him, and I'm just waiting for the words that he's going to enlighten me with. He said, suck it up and drive on. That's it. That's all he said. But you would have thought I heard a Lombardi speech. That's all I needed to hear. Because it really isn't any more complicated. There really isn't any other need to explain that you have to do it other than that there's a cause, that God saved your soul and it's worth whatever you have to go through to serve God. Whatever giants come into your life, whatever situations come into your life, it doesn't matter. Suck it up and drive on because there is a cause. I need to be broken down to a place where God could say, I'm going to use you, and you're not going to have anything to do with it. There's going to be nothing you can be prideful about or be arrogant about, because you're not going to know at all what you're doing. He does that to me a lot. I guess I just don't know much. But I struggled so bad with going out to a church, man. I didn't feel word. I didn't know how to start anything or do anything. And I remember Paul told me this one day too. I'm trying to keep bringing him up, but he said that's why God wants to use you, because you don't know what you're doing. So that doesn't make any sense. And I still don't. I don't mean that to sound crazy, but sometimes people say, "How's the church going?" I say, "It's going pretty good. It's growing, and things are going good." And I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I know some of my friends that are in ministry, they play at churches, and they have a thing that they say during that time. They got a something that they know how to say. I don't know what to say. I was like, I preach on Sunday. Amen. I mean, right, church? Yeah. We get together with our community and show them we care about them. We do anytime we do something free, we do it for free. Come eat free, come do this for free, because we're trying to show you that there's something else that's free that's more important than this. Amen. We want to tell you about Jesus who can save your soul. That's all that I know how to do. That's all that I know how to do. And there really isn't any more depth to it than that. It truly is as simple as that. There's really nothing new that you're going to do that's going to just, wow. Nobody's ever thought of that before. You can do stuff like that to draw a crowd and to move people, but there's nothing new that you can do to reach souls. It's still the same Bible, the same God, with the same salvation, and nothing has changed. It's not a magic trick. It's not a mystery. It's the Bible. Just keep doing it. And so I was so scared to go into plant the church and go into this community. And I'm wrapping up. Right, church? I'm wrapping up. But I remember I was so scared because I was like, I know that God's called me, and I'm really passionate. I love my hometown. I'm proud to be from New Orleans. I don't know why, but I love my hometown. I love where I'm from. I couldn't wait to get back there. I remember going there on the property that we're on now, the building that we use. I remember as a teenager, I didn't know what a church plant was, but I knew God was calling me to preach. Because my friends would come up and tell me, where do you go to church at? And I never understood that. Why they ask me where I'm going to church at? They're like, we don't hear anything on Sunday that makes us want to talk about it on Monday. Where do you go to church at? And so I started to go to church with them. I'm like, no wonder they don't like church. You just read through the bulletin. It tells you everything you need to know. The sermon, the prayer, everything's there. It's kind of nice because you can check it off. You know that we're almost there. But I felt sorry. I was like, man, these people, my friends, they think that being a Christian is boring. They think that this is just stupid. It's a waste of time. They don't really understand that being saved, being a Christian, is the happiest time that you could ever have. And I said, I gotta know this. People need to know. I don't know who's going to tell them, but I'll tell them. And I went and I prayed around that building. I prayed, and there was a giant before me that I had no idea how to get through. I had no idea where to start, how to do it. I didn't know anything. But I was 16 years old, and I said, God, if you call me back here, if this is what you want me to do, I'll come right back here and I'll play in church. If you tell me that's what you want me to do. When I was 18 years old, and I was getting ready to leave for Bible college, I never told anybody. I went to that same parking lot. I walked through that parking lot. I was getting ready to leave and go to Richmond for Bible. I was pulled in the parking lot and I prayed. Because I didn't know what to do or where to go, what where I was supposed to go in my life. And I remember that day I prayed and God said, you're the one. And I knew when I went to school, I knew when I left for college, I knew where I was going to be. I just didn't know it was going to take forever to get there. And so there was this hurdle. There was little hurdles at a time. And then we finally get there, and I felt like that I was alone a little bit. I was vulnerable. We had to leave our house, the parsonage that's all we'd ever known since ministry. We've been there. We've been at Sherman for 8 years. The way that it worked out, we had to make every decision. We had to leave everything before we did anything that was going to happen. And God did it that way on purpose. And when Danielle said she would go, even though I didn't have a job, I didn't know where we were going to live. When she said she would go, I knew it was time. I knew we had to. And I went to the smartest businessman that I know, very successful, very wealthy. I went to him and I said, how do you know when you make big decisions? You're a businessman. You spend a lot of money and make a lot of risk. You're a businessman. I said, how do you know when it's the right time to say yes and when you need to say no? And he said, that's a good question. He said, I do. I have a process. He said, if I never make a decision that if it fails, my family will ever know. It's not what I need to hear. If I fail, they will know. If we don't have food, they will know. My daughters have to move to school. We don't know. And that wasn't the answer that I was looking for, and there's this giant that's before me. And I don't want to go into everything that happened, but I'm just telling you, everything just kept laying out. We didn't have a building. And God kept saying, I prayed over that property that I told you about. I prayed about it. And I went by and I was so excited. I knew the church, kind of knew God had kind of started pressing my heart. And I rode through there one day and there was this church sign out front. It's like, dog it, too late. So I checked them out and I wanted to see if they were still there. Maybe they just left their sign. They were still there. And I was sort of discouraged a little bit because I didn't even know that they were there. And I was like, man, what are they doing? Like, what's going on? And it was sort of just like a Bible study. And I didn't want to go in and push in on anything. So I just left it on. And I was like, we're going to look elsewhere. I was like, God, I'd love to have that building. And I remember I put it off and put it off. I kept saying, man, I need to just call and see what the situation is. I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Because I was afraid of what I would find out. And I called. And this lady answers the phone. I said, I tell her who I am. I said, hey, I'm interested in starting a church there, but I understand there's a church already meeting there. She said, yes, there is. I said, well, don't say anything to them, but I said, just find out for sure, and if you know what their plans are, and if there's anything that changes, you call me and let me know. She called me back, and she told me that, she said, we got a routine meeting tomorrow. I'll have an answer. I'll call you and I'll tell you. She called me back the next day. That night we were eating. I remember Harrisonburg. I was sitting there with Danielle, and Mark Wainfield had just walked in. And I'm sitting there, we're on the phone, and I call her back, where I answer my phone because it's her and I needed to know. She said, strangest thing, that church has been here for 5 years. Paid every time, always on time, every week, every month. She said, they turned their last check in last night, and the building was yours if you wanted it. Slinging stones. Slaying giants. You ain't even got nothing to do with it. You just need your hand. And it's just on and on and on. I just want you to know, man, if you're not excited when you wake up to serve God, something's wrong. I don't care how bad it is. I mean, it can be bad, it can be hard, and still be good. I never understood when Paul said to take joy in tribulations. I never understood that before. And in the last few years of my life, I've been saved for 17, 18 years. I never understood what that meant. I taught it like I knew what it meant. I read what the commentators said about it. I could give you an explanation of what it meant, but I didn't know what it meant. I'd never been in a situation. I felt kind of like a hypocrite when I would preach it because I didn't really believe that. Now I do. Now, man, it's just everything is coming. There's all the time, there's just somebody coming at you. Some situation, some difficult place in life. There's always something coming at you. It's always something around you going on. And now I look and I say, I got his attention. I'm going to take joy. He cares that I'm here. He cares that New Life Baptist Church is new open enough that he wants to annoy me. If I wasn't a problem, he'd leave us alone. I think we're really annoying him, and I love that. And we just tell the devil to go to hell. But when I got there and I thought I was all in, this is what I just want to leave with you, your church, you individuals, Shenandoah Heights Baptist Church. You've been here a long time. I don't know anything. I just know that I'm supposed to preach. That's literally all that I know about anything in the churches that I need to come here and I need to preach what God tells me to preach. But when I got there and I thought I was all alone, you know what happened to me? When I obeyed God, when we obeyed the Lord, I got there. The first people that I met, the first people I grew up with, and they didn't know I was coming to church. I went to a visit and I went out and I said, hey, we're going to start a church in Newell. They said, we've been waiting. Where have you been? So we've been waiting for a church plant for so long. We've been waiting for a new church. We're so glad that you came. And I knew then. I was like, God. And then family after family. The next thing you know, you're out there, you're slinging stones all by yourself. There's nobody around. You're the only one that will face the giant. You're the only one that understands there is a cause. I am gathered, and I am slaying giants, God, but I'm the only one. And now I look around, and everywhere I look to my side, and there's somebody over here. They're slinging stones this way, and behind me, in front of me. And I have people all around me who are doing the same thing that I am, and they're protecting me, and we're looking out for one another. And that's what you have to do, because there's nobody out there that cares about you. You have to look out for one another. You need to look out for one another. There's giants coming into every one of your lives. There's struggles coming into every one of your lives, and you need each other. You need the Lord, first of all, but you do need each other. And I just encourage you to go into battle together, to know that, man, when you look around, it's comforting. I know Paul has, it's comforting to know that certain individuals are in your life. And you are those people. Be those people for Pastor Paul. Because you have a lot more confidence in going into something. You know, you got good soldiers on your right and your left. Makes it a whole lot easier. There is a cause. Gather stones. The giants are coming. Lord God, I thank you for this night. Lord, I have no idea if what I said just made any sense even. I just shared what was on my heart. Lord, I pray that maybe you spoke to somebody. Maybe somebody needed it. Maybe somebody's facing something now that's impossible. There's no way out of it. There's no way around it. Maybe they've just totally lost any desire for you for serving the Lord. They just don't even care anymore. So their giant is apathy. So Lord, whatever it is that they're facing, whatever giant is in their life, Lord, I pray that this week through Revival, God, I pray they would break through, that you would give them victory over whatever is discouraging, whatever is bringing them down, whatever has put them out of the game. Lord, I pray that they would get that same passion back they had when they were first saved, jumping up and down on the sideline playing, asking, please, God, put me in the game. Lord, I just pray you would do a work in this church. In Jesus' name, amen.